Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about finishing off painting that we recently started and kind of want to bring to an end. If you've seen a recent video of mine, this is a painting I started in a bar and didn't have the time to finish it because musicians were moving on and off stage and it was a very short set, but I got a good start to it, and this is how basically to finish off a painting without reference of life, like from your mind. A few guidelines at least. So what I initially look for is things that don't seem right proportion-wise, more than, because the color, in this case, the color would seem a bit strange because it was in a different light setting, so this seems quite dark, but I don't want to change that too much. A problem that people might face is when they're trying to finish off a painting without the reference, is that they change too many things, and you don't really want to do that. And you can arrange what's wrong, but I wouldn't change everything. Also nice to kind of leave an effect of unfinishedness, alla prima, thing that was done in one sitting, so nice to keep it fresh. So yeah, proportions, things that don't seem right. Like there's some mistakes, and the head seems a bit too big, the legs seem a bit short, and maybe complete the drawing here. You can also, there were my paintings on the wall behind him that I just marked out where they were, knowing that I could touch them later. I knew that there was a guitar here that I didn't match perfectly in color, but I can work on it from my head. And generally, like, I have enough experience with this that I know what I can work off in my head later. So I make it a point to give myself the right information at the time. And you're your own artist, so you can make whatever you want. Being faithful to the scene or not, it's up to you, but at the end of the day, you're trying to make a nice picture, like, you're not trying to make a good photo. So yeah, my advice would be, think about it on a bigger scale, like, not how was this, like, there was this shadow on the wall caused from, there's a window here, and it was casting a shadow, but then there was sort of strobe light which colored green and blue. If you see the video, you know what I'm talking about, like, it was changing color all the time, which gave a nice effect for the viewers, but as a painter was somewhat annoying, so you have to stick with one color and see where it goes. It doesn't serve you to copy things like that precisely, just give an idea of it. But yeah, the gesture of the artist, of the musician, I'd say is very important. And if it's a particular scene, a particular stage that you want to capture, maybe the bar asks you to do a painting and they want you to see that it is that bar, maybe you should really focus on capturing those particularities of that bar to show it off. But in this case, it was more a promotion, like live painting for my friend. So nothing is really important except maybe that it looks like him. So it could look like any stage. So yeah, I would focus on those things. In color, I trust my eye quite a lot when I'm painting, that I know not to change the general picture. So I know that if I put this green here, I know that my eye saw that that was that green and the color of his skin, so I wouldn't change it. But as a picture, if something looks off, like this, I don't really like that green. If something looks that off, I would change it to make it look better. But generally, I know this was a different light setting, so I'm not going to chase after changing everything around because it looks strange. Like, I know that it was very dark, there was a weird green light, I didn't have too much light on my own palette, and it's just a different scene, so there's no point in changing everything at this point. You might as well start a new painting. So yeah, I mean, the main point I'm trying to get across is just look at the whole thing and say, how can I make this a more pleasing picture to look at? And that's it. Like, I wouldn't think too much about it. And if you feel like you're doing too much, you are. So just leave it alone. And yeah. Thanks for listening. Okay, so as I said before, I'm just trying to clarify some things that were wrong. I'm looking at the edges of the objects drawn, working on the figure in the background. Some colors I'm just cleaning up a bit, like the back wall at the moment. Just trying to make it uniform and not too broken. When you use too many colors in one spot, it just seems a bit broken. You kind of want to make everything like extra understandable for the viewer. Yeah, just working with the figure. I was working on the legs, trying to find the right character, the right gesture for them, and yeah, continuing doing that. Yeah, pay careful attention in correcting the edges of objects. They're like where one object meets the background. It's the point where it really defines what that object is, and yeah, it helps give depth to the painting. Yeah, really just sort of there when you paint a live scene, you end up with a lot of empty bits here and there because you have limited time, and also you don't really know what the painting looks like until you bring it in natural light. And in this case, like I said before, I was in a dark bar. I didn't have much light on my work, so it was kind of hard to tell. Like, I mean, you put down a color that you think looks a certain way, and it turns out it's very bright, and it's not what you had in mind. So yeah, it's just be careful for that stuff. And yeah, just working on some details, the guitar and the back window there, and now the second guitar, just adding a bit of color to it. I know it had a sunburst, like yellow with orange, and I'm just defining that right now. And yeah, that strobe light was quite bright. It's really a good lesson, a good challenge to put yourself is try and paint light because you can paint stuff with color on it, but light is yeah, it's tricky. You gotta figure out your values, not make like darker objects too light, because then your light would never be light. So you have to really make some concessions on um on your darker colors. Yeah, just cleaning up a bit. I still want to give the effect of movement with the strobe light. And like trying to make it like more understandable that it's a wall, because it is a flat surface, but it had movement in it. And yeah, I usually, when I do these, I know this video is sped up, but I do work quite fast when I finish off work like this, because I don't want to make it too polished up. Like I like the effect that it was done in one go or two goes. And yeah, just, I don't know, just go around, like see what you can arrange. Just working with details, like I said before, making things look more understandable is what you're going for. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of finishing up the painting at this point, enhancing some contrast. Like, that's actually a light up there, so I'm making its fixture a bit darker. A bit of like Van Gogh touches, a bit of a reference. His interiors are fabulous, so you should definitely follow artists that see what they do, like how he painted interiors is what I look at sometimes. It helps me. Yeah, like don't get too worked up about it. Don't work on it too much, because you lose that effect of the live painting. And yeah, I know that is my drawing, so I know how it was, but I don't want to put too much detail again in it. Just final touches at this point. Yeah, the pegs, the guitar pegs, very important to add. And final check here and there. I believe it's time for the signature. Yeah, thank you very much for watching.